U7Buy provides the most convenient, fastest, and safest way to upgrade your team with numerous positive reviews and verified by top creators from different countries with 24/7 online customer support. Before the end of October, all users who place an order for FC26 coins on U7Buy for their first order of FC26 coins can enjoy a plus 10% coin bonus. Using my discount code Inception can get an additional 8% discount. Okay guys, I'm going to try to go through this introduction because I'm still sick today, but just wanted to get this video out for today. Let me just take my breaks when I'm talking, okay? Okay, so 4-2-3-1 wide. One of the most used formations right now in the top divisions. One, because it is a very defensively sound formation, helps you counter the park the bus counters, right? And people are going to be looking at that sort of thing a lot, right? Because obviously right now this is a very super heavy park the bus counter game, right? And when people kind of like bunch up their defenders that much, sometimes you don't really get a lot of attacking AI options, right? So it's just kind of how the game works out. Hopefully EA adjust the gameplay for that specifically. But there's gonna be like 3 different sort of variations for this formation, right? There's gonna be a more balanced variation of it, and then a more defensive variation of it, right? So this one over here is pretty much the main one that a lot of people are like generally using, right? Where they have advanced forward, playmaker, inside forward for both of the sides, deep line playmaker for both of the CDMs, and then fullback with balance on them. Because sometimes when you have the team set up like this, where you have, you know, the inside forward in the right mid position, sometimes you just don't have enough width to work with. Now, the only problem with a formation like this when you do use it is obviously if your fullback is on balance, there could be a chance, right? Especially if you don't have the full meta cards, for you to get caught out in that position in particular, right? Because again, people are kind of just playing for the counterattacks right now, right? So you have to be careful of that. But this one right here is generally what people are using, because with this one, you have general build-up play, right? You have the inside forward for the left mid and the right mid to cut inside to create that extra attacking space. And then you always have the CDMs to help you out in the build-up play. And when they're on deep lying playmaker, they will also attack into empty space if it makes sense to as well, right? Now, this variation you have to be very careful with using, because again, when you use variations like this where you're more open to having a balance of attack and defense, you can be susceptible to counterattacks, right? So for that, you know, people are also going to be using this variation as well, right? Where it's just very based on being super defensive, right? Playing on counter to force attacking AI out of your players, especially from the counter attack, and then having your CDMs to be players that don't really commit that much, because what you're looking at is not conceding goals from the counter attack as much as possible. It is a more ratty way of playing for sure, but it is currently what the game is set up to be, right? Because EA definitely has to figure out how they're going to do the whole park the bus counter situation, right? But this is what people are using, because the thing is, guys, is that conceding that sort of goal, in my opinion, is like a valueless goal, because you're only conceding it because players are at a position and the guy has so much space to work with on the counterattack. Because when you overcommit like CDMs and stuff, right? You guys know, even sometimes with holding, that blob of space that exists in the middle of the pitch is absolutely massive. And that can cause issues for a lot of people, right? So there's that variation as well, where it's going to be more defensive, but you'll have counter, which is not only for the counterattack, but when you're building up the play, your players will be forced to make attacking movements, right? So they're going to be using that as well. And then there's also, because I think this one is actually from Crassy, right? And then there's also a variation where I'm just going to mention this to you guys if you do want to play a different variation as well. You guys know that I try to do different things as well, but sometimes not always the meta, and then you concede really easy opportunities. I'll tell you this right now, in regards to general build-up play, if I use like fun formations to actually do attacking AI stuff right now, I would say unless it's the 4-4-1-1, you're gonna concede these easy goals from counterattacks, right? So, but I just want to mention it, right? So for me, I have used variations where I'm using short passing, right? And with short passing, sometimes I'll switch a few things here and there, right? So with short passing, fullback defend, I would personally always use, just because people do look for the counterattack for the most part in this game. And, you know, if he's on the back there, they could still support. Sometimes it's not horrible to use fullback balance, because sometimes when you're like cutting back, your fullbacks are way too far to offer that extra support. But again, they're just there defensively, because when the person attacks against you, he literally has 3 or 4 attackers just chilling up top waiting to go on that counterattack. So that's why the combination of the two when it comes to using defense and then not using defense, right? So just be careful with that. CDMs, sometimes what I like to do is, you know, having one player on holding, ball winning, or just holding defend, and then the other one as like a box crasher, right? Because you get like extra attacking AI when your players do that, but you do have to be careful with that, because again, with counterattacks, when these guys push forward, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to have a balance within your team if you don't have a player that can track back quickly. Like Goretzka's track back is actually not bad, right? But yeah, it would be like a holding, defend, box crasher. The playmaker, I'll switch depending on what I notice in the game, right? Like sometimes what I'll do is I'll put these guys on inside forward attack, right? And then I'll use playmaker, because everything is being committed in those areas right here already, right? So that's why I kind of just like leave it as it is sometimes, right? But you can see that sometimes with your custom tactics, you kind of have to adjust your roles based off of what your players are doing. Like sometimes it's not a horrible decision to use this guy as a winger who may not commit inside the 18-yard box at all, right? Because you can see here, the winger will focus on getting forward and prefer to make runs in behind the defense instead of the ball to feet, right? And then there's a balance right there. But sometimes you use that just so that you can use box crasher to utilize that empty space, because your winger is occupying the fullback, right? So you have to kind of like take a look at stuff like that when you're attacking as well. And if you feel like you don't necessarily want your striker to always be on advanced forward attack, not a horrible decision to use versatile, right? Because versatile, you'll always have a passing option, right? And with versatile, when you use it on short passing, you just have like more options to work with, right? When it comes to like creating different sort of AI situations, right? Because for me, I try to aim to get AI as much as possible, right? And you know, with formations like this, it's usually what you tend to do just to, you know, get some good passing plays and have players actually utilize empty space the way that they should. But yeah, sometimes, most of the times, you know, advanced forward attack makes the most sense, just because that player will always make those sort of attacking runs. But depending on what you notice in the game, sometimes having a card like this on advanced forward makes more sense, because when he's on advanced forward, then your cam could be on shadow striker, right? Because you already have your left mid and your right mid on inside forward balance or attack, so they're already utilizing empty space, right? With support, they could potentially push out wide, and then you'll have your attackers over here, right? So you can even put this where it's like on attack, so that this guy could potentially push out wide, but then these three attack through the middle. So there's different ways of looking at it. Obviously, for meta wise, I think most people are probably going to be using probably, well, I already switched off of it, right? But the variation that Crassy's using, it's probably going to be the one that people use the most until some sort of gameplay patch or something comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the 4-2-3-1 wide. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the introduction. I was able to make it through the intro, which is great. I just have to show the highlights, and I'll catch you guys for the next video. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.
Introducing the visitors lineup today. Edwin van der Sar begins between the posts. Virgil van Dijk plays alongside William Saliba in central defence.
Oh, they're in on goal here.
Can he score? To take their time, but not enough care on the ball. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Cross might be on. Possibilities for Ibrahimovic. Now with Zico, might be able to set up the chance. He has to score, and he does. Pass. And they have possession again. This could be the equaliser.
Nice. Let's go, Goretzka. Get involved, my boy. Get involved.
Top class defending. Must take the lead here. And they
I'll take that. Bad mistake by him there. Little through ball right there.
Yeah, they'll be frustrated with that. It was poor, wasn't it?
Yeah, that box crusher, bro. I will do that. Nice. There we go. Wait for that right there. Bang. Guys mucking about. We'll just score on an empty net. He just wants to leave at this point. But you can see little small left stick dribbles you could do there with Goretzka. Oh, oh, the timing of that was crazy. The timing of that was nuts to get that off. Top right. Nice. Go Goretzka. Oh, let's go, dude. That shot cancel actually worked out. Oof.
Now there could be a chance to counter.
There we go.
Well, now they could spring the trap. It looks the right ball.
Oh, I don't know why you did it, Trivella, but I don't know why. I'll take it though. That works too. Good stuff, good stuff.
This is how the visitors start the game.
Yeah, it's a 4-2-1-3 formation, and I'm sure we'll see them vary their play here. They can go through the third century.
Oh, hold on, Sue, they might be in here.
Ooh, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Waiting, not trying to force things. Ronaldinho
War left stick.
has made the Camavinga. That's a good ball. Opportunity here. It's there.
Neto.
Pedro Neto. Oh, could be here. Ronaldinho. And there's three.
Ronaldinho. The
Now it needs a good ball in. Setting up the chance. Still trying to find the space.
Oh, Ibra's kind of crazy.
Teeing up the chance now. Zico. And he's in.
Let's go, Zico.
Lovely possession football. Can they find the final pass? Camavinga. Neto. Big chance.
Nice.
Eduardo Camavinga. Opportunity now.
Oh, Ibra's so good.
One that... On to Camavinga. This could be dangerous. Zico.
Nice.
I'm afraid that's careless. He's in here. Terrific.
Yeah, that skill move was crazy.
This could square the game. Trying to tee it up. Zico.
Let's go. Good goal, man.
Intelligent ball. Ibrahimovic. Can they forge ahead?
What a goal, boys. What a goal, man. Good football.